Good evening. I'm here with Ms. Stacy Turvin, Director of Instructional Services and Federal Programs for Barber County School Systems. Ms. Turvin, what is your educational background?
Let's see, I have had 11 years classroom teacher, and then another 12 years in administration as an at-risk coordinator, transition school coordinator, Saturday school supervisor, assistant principal, principal, and now in my current position.
Okay. What is your job title now?
Okay, as of now, as you stated earlier, it is Director of Instructional Services and Federal Programs. I oversee all instruction and curriculum K through 12, along with all federal programs, Title I through Title VI, and any other federal funding that comes through the system.
Okay. How long have you been with the Barber County Board of Education?
This is my 12th year.
Wow. Good deal. How does your role impact student learning on a daily basis?
Well, on a daily basis, I oversee the funding that goes into providing little over 4 teacher units at the high school, teacher units at our intermediate school, as well as our primary school, and for a nurse that is split between our elementary schools, which does assist to make sure our kids can stay in school. Also, the curriculum that we bring in, our pacing guides that we use, things in those areas, as well as providing professional development to our teachers to assist them in the classroom with the students.
Okay. How does the curriculum coordinator influence student achievement system-wide?
We try our best to have a good correlation between our state course of study and the curriculum we've put in place, and try to get that to tie into the assessments. With the state ever changing their assessments, that does get very difficult. We've gone from ARMP testing to Aspire testing, the ACT Aspire, so it's a constant change.
Okay. What impact does your central office role have on school levels?
Well, I do a lot of accountability, especially through the principals with what's going on in their schools. I also make sure that the schools are getting their needs. An example this year was bringing in professional development through Chalkable. I met with the principals. What are your needs? What areas do you want it in? And then we set up a schedule throughout the school year to achieve those professional development needs they wanted, and it was embedded, so we weren't necessarily pulling teachers off campus, as well as coordinating with AMSTI and ARI to have monthly meetings, and for AMSTI to come in and work monthly with the teachers as well.
Okay. How do you feel the roles of technology and comprehensive improvement have evolved since you first entered education?
Woo! You want to talk about evolving? I mean, we went from handwriting on overheads to document cameras, so a major shift to smart boards. It has definitely progressed. But what I have not seen progress is the students actually using the technology more. Our teachers are using it efficiently, but I'm still grasping at ideas and ways to develop our teachers to allow the students to use it more effectively. And because of that, we have been progressing to a one-to-one with our intermediate school. Grades 3 through 6 is fully one-to-one. We accomplished that this year. We're a year ahead of schedule there. We are going to be putting in one-to-one in the 2nd grade, hopefully before school is out, and get our teachers trained with that, as well as 7th and 8th grade as well by the end of the year. So we are making those gains, but again, it's also making sure our teachers are trained and feel comfortable working with a one-to-one. We don't want kids on the computers 8 hours a day.
Gotcha.
But we want it to be impactful for them and teach them skills, not just move from paper and pencil to typing. So those are the shifts we still are working on.
Okay, awesome. I'm ready to see this 7th and 8th grade, one-to-one initiative at our school.
Yeah, it'll be a floating carts. Every core teacher, since our 7th and 8th grade teachers teach 7th and 8th grade together, they'll have a full cart in their classroom. And that's our core teachers.
Gotcha. How are your roles and responsibilities different and similar across the school level, as far as the primary school, the intermediate, as well as the high school?
Well, let me start with how they're similar. They're similar in that I work with the principals and find out what their needs are. I make sure their personnel is covered. If we have to put federal units in there, we will. I work with them on their professional development needs, what they want in their classrooms. As far as it differ is, the curriculum and what's being run at each school is slightly different. An example would be the reading program. We have phased our reading program out of the junior high, high school, our 7 through 12. We've phased that out, but we've also then beefed it up in our 3 through 6. And we also did some intervention with iRead with Scholastic in K through 2. So we did the individual school needs, but it's still overall for all the students. We want to make sure they're reading on grade level before they get to the 7th grade. So things like that. And of course our math curriculum is different at the different levels. So I individualize each school, but then I also bring them together to say, okay, what do we need system-wide? What does everybody need?
Okay. What changes do you feel need to be made in order to have a greater impact on positive student achievement?
We need our parents more involved in their children's academics. And we have made those changes this year. And I would say especially in the elementary level, we've started having, instead of family involvement, where parents would come once a month and then they're just given information thrown at them. That's it. Just, here's information. Well, we all know when information is just given to you or lectured to you, it's usually in one ear and out the other. So what we have done, especially with the new ESSA implementation in the federal level, is we've moved to family engagement. In other words, we are now teaching parents how to assist their students academically. The teachers, and again, I'm going to go more toward the elementary because they've really grasped this, and that's where I've gotten more documentation to show how they're doing it. But they'll actually teach a lesson, and then they'll give the parents the little kits and skills and things to help their child so they can work with their child at home.
Oh, man.
And
that's great.
It is really good, and we're having more and more parent participation with that. So when people say, well, we need parents more involved, you've got to teach them and give them the skills and show them how to be involved. One example, colors. This was with the pre-K. You know, you can tell a parent, well, you need to help your child with colors. Okay? But you haven't told the parent how and you haven't shown them, and you haven't given the skill to. So we gave them examples with sorting socks when you do laundry, sorting your clothes out from whites to lights to darks, and then talk about the colors. And to talk about colors when they're eating food, to talk about colors when they get a popsicle. Things like this that you just, daily things you take for granted that they can incorporate those skills and learning skills.
I like that.
Yeah.
Next question. How does your position impact the decision making of a school or system leaders such as the principal, assistant principal, or superintendent and the school board? Or in what way?
Well, I think our biggest impact the past 2 years has definitely been putting in the one-to-one. We have really beefed up our technology. You know, Barber County, people that, you know, from the outside look in say, oh, that's a poor rural school system. Fair enough. But with the federal dollars, using them wisely, we have more technology in our schools than a lot of city systems and non-rural systems. So that's made a big impact on our students. It's made a big impact on our teachers too. But as far as decision making, a lot of it boils down to we don't get enough state funds to pay for all the teachers that we need. So a lot of the big impact is putting teachers in place. If I did not use title money to put teachers at the high school, our high school would have 5 less teachers than what they have now. And that would make things very rough. That would have large classroom sizes. Right now we're very fortunate that our class sizes as a whole, as an average, run 20 to 22.
Yeah, that is great.
And some are even less than that, depending on the grade they're in. So I try to make an impact that way. And as far as you know, informing the board, I keep them informed of any new plans that have to be created and modified. I also work with some of the board policies. in making sure that some of those are being put. A lot of decision making that goes on. So I could keep going, but you don't have enough tape. So we'll move on.
All right. Last question. From your point of view, what should the 21st century classroom look like to you?
Definitely student driven. The teacher needs to move out of lecture teacher mode and into facilitator mode, especially on the secondary level. The students, it should be student centered and student driven, and I think that's where we still have to make that shift. Some of our teachers do it, and those classrooms are alive. And the teachers that have not grasped that yet, those classrooms are not alive, and they're just not engaging. So we've got to do that, because in the real world, you've got to have that collaboration with people working on projects. So they need those skills, the students do. Very few businesses are you going to work in where you're being told what to do.
Exactly.
They expect you to step up, to try, to do, you know, and so we've got to, that's what we've got to do. It's got to be student-centered and student-driven.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time and taking out the opportunity to answer a few questions for me.
You're welcome.
Thank
Anytime.
you.